And welcome back everybody to another episode of Dyson Sphere. So I've kind of been letting the game idle over the last day or so, just building foundations, and as the stockpile gets up, I go and put it out on the planet. Planet's more or less completely covered. I've completely run out of soil, so unfortunately I still have a couple of real big water spots, most of them that several of them right in an area where I would really like to build the factories to re-optimize everything, right around the equator part of the planet. So I'm going to have to work around those as I start rebuilding all of this, which is what I'm going to be working on in this episode. But I do have some rather large areas that are completely covered over with nothing in the way, so there's lots of stuff that I can put in this area. So I can put a lot of really good factories, really optimized factories right in here, and I'll just have to stop when I get to these ocean areas. There's a little bit of soil here I can pick up and a little bit here, but it's not going to be enough to really make a difference on this. So eventually when we get to another planet that has some I can harvest, I can come back and finish this up. So what I'm going to do now is I'm going to work on laying out the grid for the power down here, and when I get that all laid out, we'll come back and explain how that works, and then I'll start working on some of the factories and moving some of our science stuff from where it's at here down to that area, clean it up a little bit, make it a little bit more optimized and a little more efficient, as well as getting some of our other factories up and running to make them more efficient and not as spread out as they are here. I'm going to be using a lot of these towers to move materials back and forth between the various areas so that we're not going to have like this yellow belt that runs all the way around, or on the science stuff where we're running it from here all the way around to where our matrices are at. So we'll get started on that, and once I have all this set up, we'll come back and start building some factories. Okay, we're back. So I've got the first setup here, and I've made a blueprint of this so I don't have to place it by hand each time, which is why I don't have the recipes in here just yet. So this particular one is going to be for iron ore coming in and iron ingots going out. The belts 2 and 4 are going to be for the ingots coming back into the tower, and then 1, 3, and 5 are going to be the belts feeding the ore into the smelters. So when I want to set up another one of these, I just open up our blueprint menu here, and I click the 1x1 smelter, and 1x1 to me means one product coming in, one product coming out. So I'm going to take this, I'm going to zoom out here a little bit, and I have to give a little bit of space in between these towers so that they will place and everything will work the way it's supposed to. So I go ahead and place that. My drones will all fly out and build it for me. This one I'm going to set up as copper. So the easiest way to do that is to set the recipe on one of them and then copy it, and then as the drones place it, just go ahead and paste the recipe in so that it'll be ready to go. It places all the power poles and everything will work as soon as I put the recipe or put in the request in the machine itself here, which as soon as it finishes placing everything we'll take care of. So in here we're going to set it up for copper ore, and I want it to be local demand and remote demand, so it's going to request it from anywhere within the area that we have these towers set up. And then on this one we're going to put the copper bar, and we're going to set it up for local and remote supply, so it will send out the copper bars to anything that requests it. So let's finish setting up the rest of these smelters. As you can see, we have the copper coming in now, and it should come out once we set it up on these belts. So it should be this one here. We'll put the filter on for copper ore, and that'll come out. And then on this one, we'll do the same thing for copper ore. And then copper ingots are going to come in on these other ones. It's probably not fast enough to fill up all of these machines, but as I upgrade the belts, hopefully we'll get to that point, and eventually it'll back up and be sitting idle anyway, so I'm not too worried about it. So I'm going to set up for titanium, silicone, and stone as well, which I think I should be able to fit in all in the same row here. It may be kind of tight, but if not, I can put them in the next spot over here as well without an issue. So I'm going to set up the iron and the others, and then we'll come back and show the next factory setup that I'm going to make and go from there. Okay, and we're back. I got the basic smelting set up for our basic components. I was able to get these a little closer together by rotating the different facilities. So I'll have one tower here, one tower there, one tower here. So I can put them much closer together now. I had to run into an issue with this little spot of water right here, which is why the oil is further away. But I do have oil coming in here. It's coming in on 2 or 3 and 6, it looks like, is where the oil is coming in. And then you will have the hydrogen and the refined oil coming back on 1 and 2, 4 and 5, and then 7 and 8 over there. So I have 2 belts coming in on 3 sides and 2 belts coming out. So that'll be that. I have to finish setting up all of my oil seeps, and everywhere I have an oil pump to come into the towers and send them out. I've already reclaimed several hundred conveyor belts that are no longer being used, transporting oil all the way across the planet. So that is already saving space, and I have more here that I can pull back. So we'll just go ahead and delete that entire run and save some more space there, which will allow us to further expand our automation at the same time. So I will take all this oil and just throw it in there, nice and convenient. I've also expanded the solar panels. So this band here has been expanded quite a bit. And then here at the South Pole, I've expanded as well. Once I redo the science, I'll be able to expand the North Pole as well, and I'll reclaim a good area up here specifically for solar so that we can continue to generate more power. Right now, I believe we're sitting right around 500 megawatts of production. So even at, well, a lot of it's in the night cycle right now, so it's about half of where we're typically at. But as we put more solar panels up at the North and South Pole, as I reclaim that area, we'll continue to expand that generation quite a bit. So I'm going to go ahead and work on getting all of the oil set up to be coming here for processing. And then I'm going to set up a second set of refineries to do the alternate method for it, which is the X-ray cracking, and that will get us our energetic graphite as well, so that we can use that in various things. And then the plan is to eventually bring out the science into this little section here and this section here. I would like to start getting the science going so that we can reclaim all that area at the, I think it's the North Pole is where it's at. So I'm going to go ahead and work on that, as well as getting some of the secondary crafting components here up and running, the things that require 1 or 2 items a piece. and start mass producing those as well and getting them into their own setups like this. So I'll get that done, and then we'll come back and give another little quick tour of where we're at with everything. All right, welcome back everyone. So we've changed it quite a bit here. We've got our titanium here, iron here, then we go on to our copper and stone bricks and silicone. Over here we've got, I believe this is our oil being refined. And we come back here to the other side and we've got our X-ray fracking going on, which is giving us our energetic graphite and being stored in here. Here we've got our electromagnetic engines being crafted. We have our magnets, our prisms here. Here we have our magnetic coils and our steel production, as well as our crystal silicon, our gears. We're making glass here. And then we come to our circuit boards and our electric motors. So I've got a decent amount of it crafted or set up for crafting at this point. And I'm going to start reclaiming a lot of the stuff where these particular components are made. I've got one more section here prepared for expansion. So I'll get some more here, and then I can expand to here relatively easily as well to get even more production going. Just wanted to give a quick little update on where we're at with everything and the amount of stuff that's coming in. I'm not sure how much more I'll be able to get done this session, just because I've used up a lot of resources. I can actually reclaim all of this right now. This is no longer needed for anything, which means I can reclaim these towers as well as a number of these refineries, and we don't need those anymore. So I can move my plastic production and organic crystal over now. That'll solve that pretty quickly, as well as now that we're making the energetic graphite, we can make the diamonds, which will in turn let us make the titanium crystals, which should solve everything we need for our yellow cubes, and we can get those up and running. We already have the stuff we need for the red cubes and the blue cubes, so we can move all of our cube production over there pretty quickly as well and reclaim all of this area and use it for solar panels as well as other factories as well. So I'm going to work on that, and then we'll come back in a little bit for another update and continue from there. Okay, and we're back. So I've gotten quite a few more factories set up. As you can see, I've got everything more or less going. So we've got the iron, copper, silicon ingots, titanium ingots, stone bricks, energetic graphite, plastic, organic crystals, diamonds, glass. I don't have titanium alloy yet. Crystal silicone is up, magnetic coil, magnet, steel, electric motors, prisms, the titanium crystals, sulfuric acid, circuit boards, electromagnetic turbines, gears, and then I've also got the red, blue, and yellow cubes up. Unfortunately, I'm kind of at a standing point until some resources stockpile back in, and then I'm going to work on the tier 5 items so that I can get those going, and then I have some tier 6 stuff I have to do and the purple cubes. But overall, it's taken up a decent amount of space. But all of our stuff is in one area now as opposed to being everywhere on the planet. So I need to go through, and I still have to set up some of the oil pumps to ship to the area for refinement. And then I have to tear down all of this so that I no longer am consuming the resources up here, and all our production will be in one area. This is just kind of working through the remainder of the supplies that are up here. We'll go ahead and shut off the stuff that is still running just to stop it, so that we're not continuing to build in multiple areas. There's not too many spots that are still producing, but we're going to shut them off so that once we tear all this down, we can move all these resources to where they need to be. And that'll reclaim that area so we can put solar panels up there. I can tear down what remains here of our original factory. And then I also need to tear down all of this stuff and this little processing facility that I set up here, as well as the processing facility over here. I still will need to set up factories for some of these items. I haven't automated those just yet. And I need to set up the equipment to harvest the stuff off of the gas giant so that we can make that into graphene rather than doing it the way we're doing it now. But I think that's going to do it for this episode. Got quite a bit done, and there's still quite a bit more that I have to do for this setup to be finished, so I'll get to that in the next episode. But for now, leave me a comment down below if you have any tips or suggestions or anything else you'd like to share. And be sure to check out some of my other content, and we'll see you in the next one.